Hey, good morning, everybody, and happy Wednesday. Hope everybody's having a really good week. Hey, I don't remember the last time or if I have ever actually talked about interest rates 2 weeks running, but there is just so much news about this right now. I know my phone is going crazy with questions about it, so I figure, hey, let's just get the word out there. So last week I talked about the Fed. The Fed did come out and they had their announcement on rates. That they dropped rates by a quarter, right? And that always kind of throws some people off because they automatically think, sweet, my rate's going down by a quarter. So there's really three different rates, two that get a lot of news, and then one that directly affects mortgages, right? So if you watch anything, Bloomberg, CNN, you'll even see it on just regular news and things like that, not just the financial news channels. But the two sort of rates that get the most attention is the Fed funds rate. That's what happened last week, right? So the Fed funds rate, as we've discussed over and over again, does not have a direct impact on mortgage rates. It's actually the overnight, they call it the Fed funds rate, because it's essentially what like banks charge each other, right? So it's this really low rate. Prime is tied to that, so home equity lines of credit are tied to that. So that is very noteworthy. The other one that we see is the 10-year Treasury or all the US Treasury bonds. You will often see, and I've even done this a bunch of times where, hey, when people are out shopping and stuff like that, it's like, hey, the 10-year Treasury, you can find that on any channel, any website that does any financial news, they'll all report on what the 10-year Treasury is. And the 10-year Treasury often sort of mimics what's going on with mortgage-backed securities, which is the last piece here, right? So the last piece is mortgage-backed securities. That's where mortgage rates are actually set, right? And so they are their own set of securities. They are actual bonds that trade on an open market. When people are buying those, it's driving rates down. And then when people are selling those, it's driving rates up. And when I say people, I'm talking normally huge institutions and things like that are buying those. China's a huge owner of those. We've got all sorts of, retirement funds and things like that. Those are the kinds of buyers for those. So again, those are the three, right? And the two that are getting the most news, as always, the Feds and then the Treasuries. I think the thing that's really important, because these are the reasons I'm getting these calls, is people are like, hey, should I be refinancing? Hey, what does this do? I'm in the process of buying a house. How is this affecting me? The great news, we are absolutely seeing mortgage rates come down. It's been quite the ride over the last just even couple of weeks. And it's been really great for rates. I mean, we're seeing a lot of that stuff. The interesting thing is that when you look at the move that's happened with 10-year Treasury yields, it's far greater than what we're seeing on the mortgage side. So, that's something I'll tell clients is, hey, look, it doesn't directly correlate, but keep an eye on the 10-year Treasury. If that's going down, it's probably a good indicator of what's happening in mortgage rates. That is the case, but we've seen like this historic, almost like literally nearly a historic move in the US Treasury over such a short amount of time. And yes, we are seeing improvement in mortgage bonds, but not to the same extent that we're seeing in Treasuries. I actually saw this pointed out on CNBC this morning. They were talking about how this move in Treasuries is just nuts. Yes, mortgages are seeing this as well, but not to the same extent that Treasuries are. So anyway, I know this is kind of geeky and a little bit technical, but I'm putting it out there. I mean, really the net of the whole thing is, look, I mean, if you have a mortgage or you're thinking about buying right now, give us a call or give your favorite mortgage person a call and get some more information about this. Rates are definitely lower. I mean, we're definitely at 2-year lows right now, and it's kind of been tracking in the right direction. No idea what's going to happen tomorrow. There's so many crazy things. I mean, if all of a sudden the US and China come to agreement on trade, everyone anticipates that will drive rates up. So there's a bunch of geopolitical things that are hanging out there that could change things. But as it stands right now, we're just seeing just such a good move in bonds, and it's helping out mortgage rates. So hopefully I don't bore the heck out of you guys with this detail. It's certainly interesting to me. And again, I pointed out because my phone's going crazy over, hey, what's going on with rates? Should I be refining? I'm in the process. Should I be floating my rate down? Blah, blah, blah. So we always have our eye on these things. If you have other questions or want to comment, I'd love to have the interaction. So share, like, all that good stuff. And thank you for tuning in. And I will talk to you all next week.